guys, HuShang here. Welcome back to another StarCraft 2 tutorial. In this one, we're going to talk about how to macro. So right now we're playing Rayreign, who is a super strong Protoss player. We'll see if we can beat him. He also likes to macro pretty hard, so I would assume we'll get into a pretty solid macro game here. But basically what we're going to talk about is how to macro. How do we actually get to you know, a solid position where we're not going to die? Like, what are our goals here? Because I see a lot of creators doing you know, proxy hatchery to GM. And I think a lot of people are kind of copying those builds. Like, oh, that looks pretty fun. Let's go do a bunch of proxy hatch cheese, which is cool. It's pretty fun. But I don't think there's a lot of guides on, you know, how to get to some normal macro positions comfortably. So I want to do a few more of those. Alright, let's grab our cyber. Okay, so we don't want to deal with this. Let's just get one of these probes chasing him. And basically, our game plan when you want to macro is to barely defend whatever he's doing. Just make, you know, the bare minimum defenses. And then from there, we're going to transition into our tech. So you kind of need to know, like, per matchup what you're allowed to get away with. And in this matchup, you can basically only get away with Mass Stalker until you have kind of your third base, like, fully mining. So let's go for double Stalker here. I don't really know what he's doing yet, but everything looks pretty normal. There is a lot to talk about there, but I don't want to mention every little kind of thing he could be doing, but from my perspective, it looks normal. Let's get this probe coming back in for a scout in a second. Yeah, definitely don't want to finish that. So double Stalker, then we'll grab our Nexus, and then we're going to go double Sentry. Okay, let's send this probe back in. So this is going to tell us if he's macroing or not. Almost certainly this guy's macroing. He's kind of a macro beast. Probe slipping in, which is, like I said, what you want to do. Okay, so he's got a little bit of a later Nexus than us. And so right away that makes me think that he's probably going for an Oracle here. Now he doesn't have to be going for an Oracle. But we do kind of want to play it as if he could have that, just to be safe. So we're just going to grab the shield battery, and then we're going to warp in 2 Stalker up there. And in the case that he's actually not going for this, what's going to happen is that we're just in a pretty good position. And actually, I think I was wrong, honestly. I think I was wrong. It does seem like he's just delayed his Nexus because he went for Stalker. So I think we're a little bit behind because of this, but I mean, maybe not, maybe not. Okay, we're gonna take off a little bit of HP there. Can't complain about that. Not sure why I sent that scout so far. And the next thing you want to do is just play safe when you're macroing. So we're not going to try to get any crazy like advantages here, I don't think. We're just going to grab our robo and grab our gas. And yeah, maybe Rayreign will be greedy, we'll see. Looks like he's also playing this super safe. So I'm not sure who's winning right now. Probably relatively even. Just keep chronoing our blink. It also looks like he's playing just standard, so I'm not really going to worry too much about him attacking us here, I think. Okay, he got my Sentry, but I think we picked off at least one of the Adepts, right? So let's grab our expansion. And now we need to get some info about whether he's macroing or not. getting his third base. I'm gonna grab my forge here. This is actually a little bit greedy, but let's go for it. It kind of feels like he's playing standard. Then we're gonna do a little bit of blink stalker pressure, just to kind of see if he's taking the third base, and then we'll come back and basically start macroing. Yeah, so I mean we could pressure here, I guess, but let's just pull back. Let's start grabbing our gates. I think what you want to do here is go up to 6 gates really fast, so you don't need to make immortals. That'll give us enough production for the stalkers. And yeah, so now we're pretty safe, right? Now we're safe. Let's start getting some map control. It's one of the strongest things you can do in this particular matchup. I'm also gonna have an obs over here for like War Prism drops. And then we're gonna take one more gas for stalker production. Let's get a shield battery here as well. And a cannon. Yeah, so now we've basically progressed to the mid game safely. And we can take our next base. Assuming he's not really all-inning us or anything like that. If he is all-inning though, he's got to invest in more gates. So it's not as scary as it might seem to be taking a 4th base here. Well positioned adept from him. It's actually pretty smart. Now that he knows we're a macroing, he's probably going to take his next base as well. And we're going to go disruptors here. Let's do an adept attack as well. More of a scout really. And just see like how hard he's macroing.
Upgrade complete. You have not enough minerals.
So basically you want to be taking these steps each time, right? Like we're not getting too far ahead of our opponent in terms of tech and upgrades and stuff. Like if he has no 4th base here, we're gonna be super careful. But he does. It's actually quite a bit later than ours. So he might be going really fast disruptors, or we might be in a little bit of trouble. So let's make a lot more unit here, because he's clearly being very aggressive.
Mineral field. Research complete.
I'm not super worried about losing the space, to be honest. And the reason I'm not super worried about it is because when we just scouted a second ago, I saw that we actually had the gas advantage also. So I don't think he's exactly equalized off that. Like it's pretty good for him, obviously, but I don't think it's as good as it appears. He's doing a good job picking off my stuff as well. Yeah, I don't think this is too bad. He's on a pretty low worker count. I'm totally fine with kind of delaying my base here a little bit more than him. In fact, I think it would have been a little more accurate if we just delayed that till after we saw him take the 4th, since we're playing a little more greedy in the tech, but it's okay. I think he's gonna get this off. That kind of feels like DT. It's not DT. 4 disruptor. That's starting to get to be like a pretty solid number. Yeah. So the reason I'm blinking on him so aggressively is because when you have the disruptor count, he can't really stick around and fight you. So it's actually pretty fine to do that in this position. I wish the zealot actually did what I told him to when I told him to do it. That would have been sick. Now they're not going to get a lot done, I don't think, unfortunately. still, we have kind of a nice timing here because we have the Disruptor count. Now he's really got to run. He has no blink here. Very risky play from him, but it doesn't make sense because his other option is just to kind of get owned. There's no blink here. So I think we're going to end up winning this one against him. Or at least getting this base, which is huge. Now, do we keep going? That's the question. I think we will. I'm not sure if it's the right play or not because when your Disruptor count gets a bit lower, it's not ideal. But yeah, the reason I'm going to keep going here is just I feel like we've got a pretty big stalker lead. We should be able to just close this out. And yeah, he goes DT as expected, which is why I made 2 observers over here. I'm gonna just try and protect these a little bit.
Let our enemy know our fury.
Oops. I don't see the DT anymore. Oh, there it is. Nice. Okay. Let's just secure this base up a little bit. I'm expecting... Yeah, there it is. I think he saw, right? There it is. Nice. Okay, so now we can just push him. Did I get my own Dark Shrine? We did now. Oh, a little bit of supply block. Let's add some more gates too. I'm a little low. I think 8's pretty good on 4 base. And, okay, he's gonna go for the base trade. I think we're just gonna recall here. I actually just don't want to deal with this. I think it's not really worth dealing with, honestly. Because that's really the only way I can lose this game is if it gets super hectic. So it's a pretty good play by him. I like it. But I think we're gonna catch him here, which should be good. Yeah, that's game. So GG Rayreign. Like I said, super good player. We did get the better of him here. But I think he had some potential actually with the charge up push. Like I think he kind of undercommitted a little bit, thinking that I was also on kind of a lower tier tech. But in actuality, we had the disruptor tech, so he actually needed to commit more. He was thinking like, okay, I killed his base, I have 4 base, therefore I'm winning. But it's not quite that simple because whoever has more tech, that's like another form of an advantage, and he didn't pick up on that. Okay, so let's kind of do a little bit of analysis on this game. So we open with the double stalker, and he chose to open 4 stalker. So when I saw him here with this probe, what I saw was a little bit of a later nexus. And so what I thought was happening was he was going 2 stalker, and then he was grabbing like a Stargate, and then he was gonna take his nexus after that. So that's what I thought was happening. But in retrospect, I mean, looking at this game right now, I actually probably should just realize that he's taking this nexus late because he's going for 4 stalker, which we can see from these 2 stalker popping. Knowing, I mean, these can't be the first 2 stalker. So seeing 4 stalker, knowing we're going 2 and then 2 sentry, should kind of clue me in that he doesn't have any additional tech here, most likely. And yeah, so he's going 4 stalker pressure, which is also a nice way to approach the game. It's a little bit more risky because you don't get as much info, but he is following it up with a sentry, so it does make sense. A little bit more aggressive than what I'm doing. And so in this position here, we see that he's got the 4 stalker. We know that, you know, we don't need the shield battery anymore. I guess I technically have time to cancel it here, but yeah, it's not the biggest deal. He's doing a good job pressuring. He's trying to reduce my DPS by kiting backwards each time. and then drain the shield battery. So we trade 1 for 1, I believe. Or did he get a stalker as well? Maybe he got 2 units there. And at this point in the game, you just have like your basic blink tech is like the easiest way to macro. We just need to make sure that he's not all-inning us. Obviously, we've seen his Nexus already, but there's like some 2-base all-ins he could be doing. And then we need to make sure we're safe against Dark Templar. So a common mistake I'll see when I'm coaching, like the diamond level or lower, is a lot of players will like to play kind of this risky, gambly game where we try to get like fast tech, right? And so in their mind, they're thinking, if I can get away with, let's say, double forge here, that would be pretty sweet. And I have to agree with them. That would be pretty sweet. But the problem is you're going to literally die to any all-in that comes your way. And so it's just not like a really solid choice to go for that. And if you're, I mean, if you go double forge and they're like playing relatively normal, like 1 forge, you're probably going to be fine. But the problem is it's just like not very consistent. And if you go too far, like you go maybe double forge and the robo bay or something, even if I'm playing standard, I can just come across and kill you anyways. So, I mean, you can do it, but it's just not a great approach. It's much better to kind of continue to make units, make sure that you're safe, and then add, you know, whatever tech you can get away with, which in this matchup is like just 1 forge. That's already pushing it a little bit. Okay, so he snipes my sentry here. A little bit distracted talking. Usually I don't make that kind of mistake, but nicely done by him. Pick it off, get out. Only loses 1 adept. And at this point, we're gonna grab our Nexus. He's gonna do the same. If your opponent's all-inning you here, they can't really afford the Nexus. They're gonna go like plus 3 gates, let's say. Same cost as the Nexus. In that situation, you have like a minute plus to kind of figure out that they're doing that, because the gates take quite a while to come online, and they replace the money used on the Nexus. So it's not actually scary to move out right at this time period for the most part, because you should have equal units even if they're all-inning you. It's just like not really possible to have more units, assuming they're both on 2 gates and assuming you continue to warp in like I'm doing here. So that's why it's pretty okay to move out at this time in the game. And then behind this, we're going to grab a forge. This is a little bit risky, to be honest. I should probably wait till I see his 3rd base and then grab the forge. And I think what he's doing is actually a bit more safe. So I kind of wish we did what he did, to be honest, where we go 2 more gates. Actually, hold up. However, he doesn't have the robo, so I guess in his own way, he's kind of being greedy too. But yeah, robo plus 2 gates is like super ultra safe. So we poke here. We see that he's playing fast third. We see that he's, you know, getting his shield battery. We've got the same amount of stalker, and he's got sentries. So we just back up. Like, this all looks pretty normal. He's not doing anything, you know, super cheesy. And yeah, at this point, we know that we can macro. So it's pretty safe to grab a 4th here, like you saw. But I think where I went a little bit wrong here is that I grabbed the 4th and I also grabbed the RoboBay. I think that's too much. I think you should do one or the other. Would have been better. So if I wanted to go for the RoboBay here, I should have just done that plus the gas and just chilled on 3 base for a bit. Because, I mean, that's pretty much what we ended up doing anyways, alright? And I think if he was a little bit sharper here, he probably would have killed us. So, yeah, we grabbed this a little bit too greedy. I kind of assumed that Rayreign would make like 80 probes right off the bat, but he's actually playing some pretty sharp StarCraft here. 66 probe timing. Actually, he is making some probe behind this, so yeah, maybe that weakened his attack in the end. But like I said, this isn't too much of a problem because we already have different advantages. So don't be too afraid to give up your bases when you're macroing. Not always a bad thing. Okay, so yeah, so like I said, now we've got like our tech coming in, and he's playing super aggressive. So we just want to progress the game as safely as possible. So yeah, since I know I have that lead now, it doesn't really make sense to you know, be too greedy here anymore. We've kind of placed where he is strategically. So we're just going to keep making lots of units, kind of chilling a little bit. yeah, no reason to do anything too crazy here. Like, whenever you have a lead, you don't want to try and kill your opponent. That's, yeah, I mean, they're just going to have more stuff than you, right? So that doesn't make any sense. Plus, the longer the game goes on, the more your lead kind of grows. So, as long as you have some sort of advantage, you really shouldn't be the aggressor. So he comes in here again. This, I probably could have prevented this one. But yeah, it's not terrible. And at this point, we start to get some nice trades. And my tech advantage is coming online. So once your tech advantage comes online, you have a choice here. You can either progress the game by attacking like I did here, or you could progress the game by teching as your opponent kind of catches up to your original tech. So like if he goes disruptor here, or even just if we feel like we're safe, we could either attack, or we could just start teching up and keep playing defensive. They're both pretty good options. I think playing defensive is a bit easier, but yeah, whichever one you prefer, like you're gonna have a preference one way or the other, and just pick whichever one you like playing more. So they're both good options. I like to attack up a lot, so in our macro games, I'm probably just gonna be pushing whenever I feel like our tech advantage is kind of paying off, and we have a timing. So here we have like 6 disruptor. If I only had 2, he could just blink on my disruptors and kill them right away. So you kind of want to have like 4, 6, 8, that sort of number, and go for a push here. Another thing I see like pretty commonly as a mistake when you're trying to macro is people get way too aggressive for no reason. So, you know, we don't need to do anything here. It's kind of just trying to see if he's being honest. Like, is he going 5-star gate carrier right now? If he's doing that, we're definitely going to kill him. Or is he, you know, playing a somewhat reasonable game where he's like not teching too fast? And yeah, he's playing pretty reasonable here. So, I mean, even here, like if he started to have too many units for me to deal with, we could easily back up and just kind of secure our bases. Maybe look towards taking a 5th in like a couple minutes. Maybe tech up. Like we got a lot of options. You don't need to kill them here, I guess is mainly what I'm getting at. We're just kind of pressuring and trading and making sure he's not too greedy. But yeah, we did end up taking a really awesome fight there. It's kind of hard for him to play because he's got to snipe the disruptors. So that went pretty amazing. And yeah, now we might as well just continue the pressure. Like there's no reason to transition here or back up. The game is pretty over. So we're just going to continue pushing, and then yeah, eventually we just kind of overpower him here. And yeah, like I said before, the reason that he's struggling right now with his lower tier army is just because he kind of underestimated how greedy I was being with the tech. I'm sure if he saw my gas, he would have pushed quite a bit harder there instead of probing up and not attacking into my 3rd. Yeah, probably we didn't even need to back up here, but I was a little bit worried about the counterattack DTs with only 1 cannon, and I was a little bit worried about this base trade as well when he went for it. So we could base trade here, but I kind of suck in the base trades, if I'm being honest. So I figured we just come back here is like a much safer way to go about it. And this recall kind of worked out nice, where we recalled like half our army. Able to kill this, and I mean, that's game. He doesn't really have any plan B here. He's kind of out of units and resources. So yeah, good game, Rayreign. Don't be fooled here. He takes quite a few games off me. He's a super strong player, but yeah, luckily we got the best of him this game. So hopefully you learned kind of how to go about thinking about your macro games in this video. If you want some lessons, hit me up on Discord, join our server, and hopefully I will see you guys again soon.